Welcome everyone. Today our Vinyasa flow will be a progression, a building towards extended side plank. In Sanskrit that is Utthita Vasisthasana. And just one thing to keep in mind is that the goal is not necessarily to get you into Utthita Vasisthasana. The goal is to provide an experience for you to move in your body, to understand your body a little bit more, to provide a space where you can practice this idea of vairagya, which is non-attachment. And if you watched any of my previous classes last week or the week prior, this has been a philosophy theme that we've been carrying through and exploring on the mat. So today's just another opportunity to take a peek at your intention. Why are you coming to your mat? What is it that you hope to get out of it? And just kind of keeping that in check. So with everything that we do, I always invite you to modify. You know your body best. If you have any injuries, please take care of yourself. Pay attention to your breath before you start to think about moving into any further depth of a posture. So we'll start off right away by setting up our downward facing dog. If downward facing dog is a challenge for you in terms of bearing weight on the wrist with this extreme flexion of the wrist, then I invite you to explore a few different options. One is to come up onto the knuckles. You could also do this in weight bearing in high plank. Okay, so there's much less tension on the wrists because they're nice and straight and stacked under elbows and shoulders. That's option number one. Two, to really build strength in the muscles of the knuckles and the hands and the fingers, you can try weight bearing on the fingertips instead of the palm of the hand. And then three is you could roll the top of your mat to decrease that flexion of the wrist as much as you want. So you get to play with that. And then the heel of the hand rests on that. So when you come into something like downward facing dog, there's a lot less flexion of the wrist joint. It's more of like a 45-degree angle versus 90-degree angle. So play with that in your own body. Maybe you're already in downward facing dog. Let's go ahead and take a few breaths there. In my downward facing dog, I like to take a slightly wider stance with the palms of my hands, and I like to externally rotate the fingertips. So that looks like fingertips just slightly rotated out to the side. That way I get more weight into the knuckle of my index finger and my thumb versus rolling all the way to the pinky edge of my palm. So get a sense that all 4 points of the palm are pressing down, rooting down. Get a sense of lifting up and out of whatever is in contact with the floor. So in this case, the hands and the feet. The tailbone lifts, the crown of the head relaxes. The belly starts to move towards the thighs. We'll just start by taking some deep belly breaths in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Deep breath in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. And shift forward halfway as if you were transitioning into high plank, but stop before you get to high plank. So your tailbone's still slightly elevated. Your shoulders are still behind your wrist. See if you can find this sensation of broadening across the upper back and the scapula moving away from the midline of the spine and the collarbone spreading. Can you keep that and then lift the hips up, relax the chest towards the thighs, and relax the crown of the head down towards the mat. This will be a constant theme throughout our practice. The broadening of the upper back and the collarbone, the spreading of the scapula away from the midline of the body. Let's try that again. Inhale, just shift forward halfway. Feel your back body broadening, your collarbone spreading. Exhale, move the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Until this time, shift all the way into your high plank. Just pause there, press the floor away, and then set your knees down. So wrist underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. The shape is similar to cat and cow, but smaller. So let your belly draw down towards the floor, let the breastbone move down towards the floor. You'll feel your scapula squeezing together on your back. You're depressing the upper back. That might not feel so great, but I want you to know what it feels like so that you can do the opposite, which is press the floor away, round the upper back, you're lifting up and out of the shoulder girdle. That's the sensation we're looking for when we're weight bearing in our high plank pose and our downward facing dog. So try that a couple of times. Let the breastbone depress towards the mat. You're sinking into your shoulders here. And then on your exhale, press the floor away. You're broadening the shoulders away from the spine. Just one more time. Get a sense of what that feels like in your body. Good. And we'll stay on our hands here for a minute, but just extend your right leg behind you. So the right leg's going to float away from the mat a little bit, just enough, keeping the right hip in line with the left hip. Feel your navel hugging up and in. Start to feel the muscles around that right leg do some work. So quadricep engaging, hamstring engaging, glute engaging. You don't need to lift that right leg up really high to do that. In fact, I'd prefer if you keep it just a little bit lower than the hip to let the muscles do the work and keep the hips neutral. One more breath in, growing tall through the crown of the head, so neutral through your spine. And exhale, set that right knee back down. Inhale, extend your left leg back. Flex those left toes down towards the floor. The left foot stays active. And notice that that left hip's rolling open. Pull it back down in line with that right knee, even if it means the left leg is a little bit closer to the floor than you want it to be. Feel your navel hug up and into your spine. Feel the muscles around that left leg start to fire. Hamstring, glute, quadricep, all engage. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Set your left knee back down. Inhale here. And exhale, curl your toes. Let's come back to downward facing dog. Reset the hands and the feet. And returning to the shape over and over again. Please know that you always have the option to bring your knees down to rest, to come back into downward facing dog when you're ready. Breath in, breath out. Find that halfway shift forward. You're pausing before you get into high plank. Step your right foot up in between your hands. Let's rise up to a fairly easy crescent lunge, bending the right knee, soften a little into your left knee. And find that sense of balance here. It can be helpful to leave the hands on the hips. And then see if you can snake the forearms behind the low back. So grabbing for your opposite elbows, maybe if that's accessible, or your opposite forearms, or even your opposite wrists. And once you have that bind, press your forearms into your low back. Keep your elbows close to your side body, squeezing your shoulders in towards the midline of the body. Breath in, breath out. Release the hands and step back, downward facing dog. Full breath cycle in and out. Inhale, shifting forward halfway. Step that left foot up in between the hands. Rise up to crescent lunge, hands on the hips. Get a sense of your balance. Soften into that left knee and a little bit into the right knee. Then bring the hands behind the low back. If you can remember which forearm was on top, maybe you take the opposite forearm on top now. Pressing forearms into low back, squeezing elbows into side body. Keep the shoulders hugging in towards the midline of the body. Give a little pull onto whatever it is that your hands are grasping. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Release that, plant your palms, step back, downward facing dog. Relax your head, let your neck be long. Inhale, shift forward, we'll come into high plank. And just like you practiced on your hands and your knees, get a sense of pressing the floor away, that slight round to the upper back. Deep breath in. And breath out, set your knees down. Come all the way down to the belly. We'll set up our first Sphinx pose, which is different than low cobra. If you're unfamiliar with Sphinx, take a peek at me. The key thing here to remember is where the elbows are placed. If your elbows are behind your shoulders, this won't work. So bring your elbows at least underneath the shoulder joint or forward at the shoulder joint. We want to avoid bringing the elbows out to the side and behind the shoulders. So press down through the palms of your hands, your forearms, your elbows. Let the belly relax here for a moment. Press down through your fingertips. Find a little bit of a lift away from the floor, but you're not crunching the neck back. Okay, so this comes from the fingertips pressing away, lifting up. Breath in. Breath out. Your hands will stay like this, and we'll build our very first foundational supported half side plank. So start by curling the toes under, firm the inner thighs. See if you can lift the hips up, just arrive into that first forearm plank. From here, walk your right hand closer to your left hand. Roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Take your left foot behind your right leg. Come onto the ball mound of that left foot. And then the left arm can extend towards the ceiling. Now remember, don't dump into this right shoulder. Press down to the floor, lift up and out of the shoulders. Deep breath in. Breath out, we'll come back through forearm plank. Rolling all the way down to Sphinx. Just take a moment to reset, release, breathe in, breathe out. Second side, curling the toes under, rooting down through the palms, inner thighs cinch together, hips rise. Take your left hand closer to your right hand. Roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Right foot comes behind left leg, and then right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Press down through all three of these points that are in contact with the floor. Lift up and out of the shoulder girdle. Find your breath. Exhale, make your way back to forearm plank. Roll down, Sphinx. Neutral breath in. Breath out, palms come underneath the shoulders. This is a great time to transition through child's pose if you need a little respite. You can always press straight up to high plank and down dog if you're really energized. But you can always come to child's pose first. So remember, you have options in your practice. Wherever you are, let's take 2 more breaths. If you're down in child's pose, begin to rise up, downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, find that halfway shift forward. Step your right foot up in between your hands. Left foot follows you at the top of your mat. Walk your fingertips up your shins, halfway lift. In your halfway lift, pause here for a moment. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. Your back body is engaged. Your navel's hugging into your spine. So shoulders are not down here. You're not crunching the back of your neck. You're actually lifting up and out of the spine. It's growing long from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Deep breath in. Deep breath out, bend your knees, fold, Uttanasana, relax your head. Next, inhale, press down through your feet, reach the arms out wide, stand all the way up, reach up. And just for a moment, exhale your hands to your heart. Take the inner edges of the feet together. So feet are moving as close together as you can get them. That's comfortable for your hips and your knees. And then pick up your toes, so you're balancing on the ball mounds of your feet and your heels, and just keep that for a few moments as you spread your arms out wide to the sides. Palms face the ceiling. And notice the rotation of the shoulder joint in its socket. This is external rotation. Can you keep that as you roll the fingertips up towards the ceiling, palms facing away from one another? This is that deep flexion of the wrist that you're taking in your Vasisthasana. So in essence, this is Vasisthasana, you're just standing. And the toes are lifted to provide a little sense of wobbliness that you'll feel in that side plank. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Inhale, stretch your arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, trace the midline of your body, fold all the way back in, bend your knees, relax your head, and step your right foot back, low lunge. Just pause here for a moment. Step your left foot back, downward facing dog. Hips lift. You'll find that shift forward just about halfway on your way to plank. You're not going all the way there. From here, remember you can always come down to the forearms and do that very first Vasisthasana supported side plank we did. If you'd like to try this on your wrist, on your hand, step your right palm, one hand forward. Okay, so your right hand is way far forward of your shoulder. Now you're going to roll to the outer edge of your right foot once more, but this time step your left foot straight halfway up the mat towards your left hand. So you're still in a supported side plank, you're just on the palm of the right hand and you have the sole of the left foot planted in front of you. Keep that, extend your left arm towards the ceiling. Breathe in here, press down through all three of these points, lift the hips, grow long out of that shoulder. And exhale, left palm down, move back to downward facing dog. Remember to take your time with your transitions. There's no rush. They're very much a part of the practice, part of the asana, just as much as that specific asana is itself. Let's find that halfway shift forward again with your breath in. And this time you're going to step your right foot up in between your hands. Spin the sole of the left foot all the way down, rising up to Warrior Two. So Warrior Two, the right foot is forward, the knee is bent. The sole of the left foot's planted at the back of your mat. It's parallel with the short edge of your mat. Spread your arms out wide. Flip your palms up to face the ceiling. Notice that external rotation of the shoulder. Keep it. Deep breath in here. Deep breath out. Hands come back down, frame your right foot out. Move back, downward facing dog. We're gonna stay with this right side for one more side plank, and then we'll move to the left. So stay with the right side. Right hand, as you shift halfway forward, steps one handprint forward towards the top of your mat. Roll to the outer edge of your right foot. You step your left foot halfway up towards your left hand. And remember, you can stay here and work this strength, this balance. But if you want to add on to Vasisthasana, you can start to walk that left foot back down towards the right foot. And then you can stack the foot on top. So the legs cinch up and the left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Remember this wobbly sensation that we practiced standing? How much harder is it now that you're balancing on your right hand and the outer edge of your right foot? One breath in, breath out, down dog. Deep breath in, deep breath out. So I will give you some time here if you want a vinyasa flow in between sides. You have at least 3 good full breath cycles to take it. If you want stillness, you stay in down dog, or maybe you relax for a few moments into child's pose. Let's meet back in downward facing dog if you're moving through a flow or resting. We'll try all of that on the second side. We'll move forward just with the shoulders about halfway. Step the left hand, one handprint forward towards the top of your mat. Roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Even though you know where you're going, stick with the details. Right foot steps halfway up towards the right hand. And these are your 3 points of contact as you inhale and lift your right arm towards the ceiling. Lift up and out of the hips, out of the shoulder, breathe in. Breathe out. Bring your right hand back down. Make your way downward facing dog. Shifting forward halfway. Left foot steps up in between the hands. Spin the sole of the right foot all the way down to the mat. Bend your left knee. Rise up to warrior two. Settle into your warrior two. Flip your palms up to face the ceiling. Feel that external rotation through the shoulders. Feel your scapula moving away from one another and the collarbone broadening. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring your hands back down, framing your left foot out. Stepping back, downward facing dog. Okay, we have a second round of Vasisthasana on the left side. On your inhale, shifting the shoulders slightly forward. Step your left hand, one handprint forward. Roll to the outer edge of your left foot. You just did this. Same step-by-step approach. Right foot steps halfway up your mat. Right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. You stay here, or maybe you layer on to Vasisthasana. The right foot can heel to back to stack on top of the left leg. Let's get a sense of pressing down into the mat, whatever is in contact, lifting up out of the hips and the shoulder. Find your breath. Take it back through downward facing dog. And just pause for a moment. And we'll just stay in downward facing dog this time. Inhale, shifting the shoulders forward halfway. Step your left foot up in between your hands. Right foot follows. You're at the top of your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, fingertips to shins. Lift up and out of the shoulders. Squeeze them together on the back. Press down through the feet here. Stretch the arms out. Rise all the way up to standing. Reach up. Exhale your hands to your heart. And then again, bring the inner edges of the feet together to touch. Let's bend the knees, Utkatasana. Bend the knees, sink the hips, extend the arms forward. I like to, again, find that external rotation of the shoulders so the palms face the ceiling. I get a sense of my shoulder blades spreading away from the midline of the body. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Shifting all of the weight into the left foot. Begin to extend the left leg, and as you do, hug that right knee into the chest. As the right knee is bent, take your left hand to your left glute and just feel the muscles there engage. Now take the right hand to the inner right thigh, pull that knee out to the side. And then you can lift your arm away from the glute, counterbalancing, left arm stretching out to the side, palm facing the ceiling. Get a sense of the scapula moving away from the midline of the body. Broadening across the collarbone. Breath in. Breath out, come back to Utkatasana, slowly release, back through center. Sink the hips, bend the knees. Extend the arms. This Utkatasana doesn't need to be the deepest one you've taken. It can be nice and easy. Just get a sense of bending the knees, sinking the hips. I'll transition the weight into that right foot. Start to lengthen out through the right leg as you pull the left knee into the chest. right hand to right glute. Get a sense of those muscles starting to fire as you take the left hand to the inner left knee and push it out to the side. Extend the right arm, palm faces the ceiling to counterbalance. Deep breath in, deep breath out. One more time, we'll meet back in Utthita Vasisthasana. Come all the way back through center, plant your left foot, bend your knees, sink your hips, extend your arms. Breathe in, breathe out, bending the knees, fold over the legs. So perhaps you've guessed it already, but that shape we just did standing, we'll try it on our sides in Vasisthasana. Step your left foot back, pause in your low lunge. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Right foot steps back to meet the left, downward facing dog. So allow yourself with each transition, each shape to fully land before you move on to the next. Each time we come to Vasisthasana, we will build on what we did last. We'll go through each step. And you always have that choice to stay with that foundational labor and work to strengthen the body first. Inhale, shifting forward halfway. Step the right hand, one handprint forward. Roll to the outer edge of your right foot as you step your left foot halfway up the mat towards the left hand. Left arm extends. This is option one, stay right here. It's a great place to be. Option two, Vasisthasana, left foot walks back, stacks on top of the right leg. Option three, what you just did standing, you're gonna reach down with the left hand, pull that left knee up towards the ceiling, deep breath in, deep breath out, and then come back through downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, shift forward halfway. Step your right foot all the way up between the hands. Spin the sole of the left foot down. Rise up, warrior two. Arms spread, palms face the ceiling. Settle in here, one deep breath. Now adding on, straighten the right leg. Bump the hips back towards your left foot. Reach through your right hand, move it down towards the right shin or ankle as the left arm extends towards the ceiling. Same idea, you're pressing down through the floor, lifting up out of the shoulders and the waist. You're not dumping all of your weight into the shoulders and the hip. So with integrity, press down into the floor. One more breath in here. Breath out, bring the hands back down, moving into downward facing dog. Settle in your down dog, breathe. Remember your options for child's pose at any point in time. Second side, shifting forward with the shoulders. Left hand moves forward, one hand print. First, you're rolling to the outer edge of the left foot as you step your right foot halfway up your mat. Pause there with these 3 points in contact with the mat as you extend your right arm. Stay here or move to option number two, Vasisthasana, right foot walking back to stack on top of the left leg. Stay there, or option number three, bring your right hand down, inner right knee, open it up towards the ceiling, lift up and out of the hips, the shoulders, deep breath in. Breath out, unwind, downward facing dog. Breathe, arrive. Inhale, shift forward, just halfway, stepping the left foot up in between the hands. Spin the sole of the right foot down, warrior two, second side. Palms face the ceiling, settle into your warrior two. Press down through both feet equally. Feel your arms reaching away from one another. Upper body is broadening. Adding on, straighten out through your left leg. Bump your hips back towards the right foot. Left arm reaches down towards the left shin or ankle as the right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. And can you stay light on this left hand? So you might even lift it away from the shin or the ankle and just see what's going on with the rest of the body. Are you dumping into the hands, the hips, the shoulders? Or are you keeping everything engaged, active? Big breath in. Breath out, come back to downward facing dog. Take your time getting there. Okay, so we'll move through one more option towards Utthita Vasisthasana, but just like we've done before, we'll do it standing. So inhale, shift forward with the shoulders halfway. Step your right foot up in between your hands. Left foot follows. Bend the knees, sink the hips here. We're coming right into Utthita chair pose. Arms extend, palms face the ceiling. We'll start by balancing on the left foot. So you're shifting the weight into the left foot. Lengthen out the left leg as the right knee hugs into the chest. Just like you've done it before, step by step. Left hand to the glute, feel the muscles firming. Right knee starts to move out to the side with the help of the hand. Then you're extending your left arm to counterbalance. Keep that arm there. You could stay just like this, or hook your two peace fingers around your right big toe. And then maybe you play with extension of the right leg, any amount. Doesn't matter how far you get. You might come to that full extension. You might come to somewhere in between. You might stay here, or you might stay with the hand on the knee. Wherever you are, notice your breath. Notice the spine. Can you grow tall? And then exhale, let's come back through center, Utthita chair pose. Replant that right foot, bend the knees. Sink the hips. Breath in. Breath out. Shifting the weight over to the right foot. Press down, lengthen out. Hug your left knee into your chest. Right hand to right glute. Left hand to inner knee as you rotate it out to the side. Extend your right arm, palm faces up. You stay here or reach down with your peace fingers of your left hand, hook the big toe. Now maybe you stay here and just work the balance hooking the toe. Or maybe again, you play with the extension anywhere along the way. Maybe you don't get that full extension today, that's okay, but you know the pathway toward it. Let's roll back through center, release all that, unwind, bend the knees, sink the hips. Just bring your hands to your heart. Deep breath in. Nice, easy Utkatasana. Breath out. From here, we'll fold right into Uttanasana, your forward fold. Relax your head, relax your head. Meeting with the right foot, step it back. We'll pause there briefly in that low lunge. And left foot follows, downward facing dog. So the details matter. Each time we come to this pose, we build on our foundation and we let our body tell us when to stop, when to go. The ego can take a back seat. Notice how your body feels. We'll start off with that right side. Inhale, shift forward with the shoulders halfway. Step your right hand, one handprint forward. Roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Step your left foot halfway up your mat. Left arm extends towards the ceiling. Option number one, stay here. Option number two, Vasisthasana, left foot on top of right. Option number three, left knee moves up towards the ceiling. And then four, maybe hook the big toe, two peace fingers, and see if you can extend the left leg any amount. Same thing when you were standing. Doesn't matter if you get that full extension or fall out because it's very wobbly and challenging. And when you're ready, release that nice and slow. Downward facing dog. Take at least one full breath cycle in down dog. Let's inhale, shift forward to high plank. Bring the knees down to the mat. Shift the hips back over the heels and just pause here. Hands rest on the thighs. Close the eyes. Just take a moment to ground yourself. Notice any sense of success or failure or anywhere in between, whatever kind of judgment you have over what just happened on that first side. Acknowledge it. Now let it go. Be willing to explore what happens on the second side without being attached to a particular outcome. Vairagya. Hands come forward. Plant your palms, spread your fingers wide. Curl your toes, downward facing dog. Full breath cycle in and out through the nose. Shifting forward halfway. Left hand steps one handprint forward on your mat. Roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Step your right foot halfway up the mat. Right arm reaches towards the ceiling. This is phase one. Remember, you can stay here. This is a great place to work. Phase two, right foot moves back, stacks on top of left. Phase three, right hand reaches down, pulling that right knee up towards the ceiling. Finally, if you'd like that full extended version, or somewhere on the way to that, hooking the big toe with the two peace fingers, and then maybe you extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. When you're ready, release, unwind. Take a pass through downward facing dog. If you really are craving that Vinyasa flow, you can shift forward into high plank. Maybe you move through chaturanga, or maybe you move the knees down, coming onto the belly. Inhale to low cobra, or even sphinx. And we'll meet in child's pose. So if you're coming through that full version of your Vinyasa flow, you can move back up to downward facing dog if you like. Take a few breaths there. And when you're ready, bring your knees down. Let's settle into child's pose. In your child's pose, can you relax your forehead on something tangible? If the floor feels really far away, stack your hands underneath your forehead. Elbows can come out wide. Let your forehead rest on the backs of your hands. Let the hips be heavy. Let the breath be long and smooth. Let's take 3 deep more breaths here. 3 more deep breaths here. And then start to feel the heart rate settling down. And so we just did a lot of work on wrists and shoulders. We're going to give them a little break with a nice passive release and some yin shapes. I'm going to walk you through it. So you pull yourself forward into a tabletop, and I'm going to turn to face you so you can see what this looks like head on. So you come all the way down onto your belly as if you were setting up another Sphinx pose, or as if you were coming into low cobra. Instead of coming into Sphinx, you're going to take your arms wide like you're making a big capital T with your body. Palms are facing the floor. Forehead down onto the mat so the chin slightly tucks in. Then pull your left palm underneath your left shoulder. Your right arm still stretching straight out to the side. And just take a peek over at that right arm and see where the wrist is in relationship to the shoulder. So can you get it in line with the shoulder or slightly above the shoulder? Take your gaze away from that hand so you're looking over your left shoulder now. You're going to press down into your left hand and roll your weight onto your right side body, your right shoulder, your right hip, the right side of your head. You can bend the knees here, or you can stack the legs, or you can take that top leg, bend the knee, plant the foot behind the bottom leg. So this is plenty for me. I don't really need to add on, but if you really want to, you could extend your left arm towards the ceiling and snake that forearm behind the low back, bending the elbow. We'll just be here for a couple of minutes. Nice short hold. The shoulder joint's so delicate that we really don't need much time to work with that connective tissue and for the connective tissue to start to warm and release. If 2 minutes feels like too much, please feel free to roll your way out at any point in time. You can simply rest on your belly or press back into child's pose. And likewise, if you feel like you've gone too far in this shape, just feel free to unravel a little bit, come back to a more foundational place. So for me, it feels best to just rest my left hand in front of my chest so that I can really relax onto the right side of my body. Notice your breathing. You take the breath in and out through the nose. Last 2 deep belly breaths. Slowly start to unwind, come back to your belly. Take your time. And just pause for a moment. Take your elbows out wide, stack your palms underneath your forehead. Let your forehead rest on the backs of your hands. Set up our second side, spreading the arms out wide, big capital T shape with the upper body. Begin to slide your right palm underneath your right shoulder and then take a peek at your left wrist. Can it be in line with the left shoulder or slightly above it, not below it? And then you start to take your gaze away from that arm, so you're looking towards your right fingertips. Start to press down there. Roll your weight onto left shoulder, left hip. Relax the left side of your head down towards the mat. Remember your options here. Knees can bend or legs can stay straight. You can stack that top leg on top of the bottom. If you're really craving some more sensation, you can bend that top knee and place it behind. Place the sole of the foot behind the bottom leg. And finally, maybe you want to add on the top arm reaching up towards the ceiling, bend that elbow, snake the forearm behind the low back. And like I said before, if you get into a depth that doesn't feel comfortable or you notice your breathing becoming shallow, Just unwind it a little bit. Peel it back a few layers. Deep belly breathing. Last 2 breaths. Begin to unwind. Come all the way back onto the belly. And just for a moment here, elbows out wide, stack your hands, rest your forehead on the backs of the hands. If you need to release the low back, you can pick up your feet, bending the knees, and sway the feet side to side. Relax that, let it go. Palms underneath the shoulders, press your way up to a tabletop. Feel free to make a pass through child's pose if you need to release the back body at all. And then we'll make our way onto our back body. We'll come into Shavasana. And we'll take a short Shavasana today. I'll give us 2 minutes. You could take Shavasana with your legs up the wall or your legs draped up and over a chair or a couch. You could simply lie down on your back, relax your legs out long. Rest your arms down alongside your body. Move your shoulders away from your ears. Slightly tilt your chin towards your chest. Big breath in through the nose. Open your mouth, exhale. Let it all go. Let it all rest. The eyes close. Let the back teeth part. Let the tongue widen at the base of the mouth. Any sense of controlled breathing go. If you have more time to spare in your day, please feel to ignore me and just stay as you are for as long as you like. If you're ready to move on, extend the arms up and overhead. Bring your legs together. Breathe in through the length of your body. When you're ready to exhale, bend your knees. Just roll off to a side and fetal position. Just take at least one full breath cycle here. And with as little effort as possible, maybe the eyes remain closed. Rise up to one final seat. Feel the crown of the head grow tall and the sits bones root down. And join your hands together at your heart. Bow your chin to your chest. Take a moment to honor your effort and your practice. My wish for you, that you remember you will always be okay. That you find a white light that guides you and keeps you safe. That you have hope, help, and happiness. Namaste.